Many people believe they know the geography of Texas, even those who have lived here their entire lives. But the reality is very different, because Texas is much more than just another state on the map. It is a land of deserts, vast plains, deep canyons, and long coastlines that make it one of the most diverse and incredible states in the United States. Today you will discover 35 geographic facts about Texas that reveal its true nature. And I'll tell you something, when you discover the final facts, you'll understand why I say all of this. 1. The vertiginous abyss of the High Bridge. Spanning the deep limestone gorge of the Pecos River, the Pecos River High Bridge is a marvel of both engineering and geography. Standing over 270 feet above the water, it is the highest highway bridge in Texas and offers a terrifyingly beautiful view of the rugged terrain below. The river has carved a deep, narrow canyon through the limestone of the Edwards Plateau, creating a formidable natural barrier that once required a massive detour for travelers. The vertical walls of the canyon reveal millions of years of geological history, with distinct layers of rock visible from the bridge's observation points. The geography of this crossing is so extreme that it was chosen as a strategic point for early railroads and highways, symbolizing the conquest of the harsh West Texas landscape. Below the bridge, the turquoise waters of the Pecos flow toward the Rio Grande, cutting through a desolate and stunning wilderness that remains one of the most inaccessible and dramatic regions in the state. 2. The saline mysteries of the Red River. The Red River, which forms the northern border of Texas, is home to a strange and rare geographical phenomenon known as the Great Salt Plains. Deep beneath the riverbed and the surrounding plains lie massive deposits of salt left behind by an ancient sea that existed millions of years ago. Groundwater moves through these subterranean salt layers, becoming highly concentrated before emerging as saline springs that flow directly into the river. This process makes the water in certain stretches of the Red River naturally saltier than the ocean, a condition that has profound effects on the local ecology and water management. During dry periods, the water evaporates to leave behind vast shimmering crusts of salt on the riverbanks. This unique geography has historically made the river a vital source of salt for wildlife and humans alike. Though it presents significant challenges for modern agriculture and drinking water, it remains a powerful example of how ancient geological deposits continue to influence the modern environment. 3. The spectral gypsum dunes of the Salt Basin. In the shadow of the Guadalupe Mountains lies the Salt Basin Dunes, a haunting landscape of brilliant white gypsum sand that covers nearly 2,000 acres. These dunes were formed as water from the surrounding mountains drained into a low-lying basin, carrying dissolved minerals that eventually evaporated and left behind thick crusts of salt and gypsum. Over thousands of years, the wind broke these crystals into fine grains and piled them into massive shifting dunes that can reach heights of 60 feet. The geography of this basin is a stark reminder of the region's ancient hydrological history, marking a place where a vast lake once stood during the last ice age. The stark white color of the sand reflects the intense desert sun, creating a surreal and blinding environment that stands in sharp contrast to the dark limestone peaks nearby. This isolated corner of the state is one of the most unique places in North America where such vast gypsum deposits are visible. 4. The living staircase of Gorman Falls. Gorman Falls is a spectacular and rare example of a living waterfall located within Colorado Bend State Park. Unlike most waterfalls that erode the rock they flow over, Gorman Falls is actually growing over time. The water from nearby springs is heavily saturated with carbon dioxide and dissolved limestone known as travertine. As the water cascades over the 60-foot cliffs and comes into contact with the air, the minerals precipitate out and form new layers of rock. This process creates a delicate, fern-covered staircase of stone that is incredibly fragile and beautiful. The geography of the falls is so sensitive that visitors are prohibited from climbing on the formations to prevent damage to the growing mineral deposits. The surrounding canyon, carved by the Colorado River, provides a dramatic and secluded backdrop for this unique geological phenomenon. It is a place where the earth is actively building itself, creating a lush, vertical oasis in the heart of the rugged central Texas wilderness. 5. The humid sanctuary of the Piney Woods. The Piney Woods of East Texas represent a lush, temperate coniferous forest that stands in stark contrast to the arid landscapes found in the western parts of the state. This region is part of a larger forest system that stretches across the southern United States, characterized by towering loblolly and shortleaf pines, as well as dense hardwood bottomlands. The geography is defined by rolling hills and sandy soils that receive the highest annual rainfall in Texas, often exceeding 50 50 inches. This abundance of water creates a network of sluggish bayous and sprawling wetlands that support a rich diversity of life, including the rare red-cockaded woodpecker. The dense canopy and humid air create a greenhouse-like environment where mosses and ferns thrive alongside massive ancient trees. For centuries, this region has been the center of the state's timber industry, but its true significance lies in its role as a vital ecological corridor that links the coastal plains to the interior forests of North America. 6. The karst fortress of the Edwards Plateau. The Edwards Plateau is a vast, uplifted region of limestone that covers a significant portion of central Texas, acting as a massive natural filter for the state's water supply. This rugged landscape is characterized by its karst topography, which is filled with thousands of sinkholes, caves, and underground springs that channel rainwater into the massive Edwards Aquifer. The limestone bedrock was deposited over 100 million years ago during the Cretaceous period when a shallow sea covered the area. Over time, tectonic forces pushed the land upward, and water began the slow process of dissolving the rock to create the intricate subterranean network we see today. The plateau serves as the high ground from which many of the state's major rivers originate, including the Guadalupe and the San Marcos. This region is not only a geological powerhouse, but also a critical ecological zone that supports a unique variety of species adapted to the rocky, spring-fed environment of the hill country. 7. The sacred saline waters of La Sal del Rey. La Sal del Rey is a mysterious and ancient salt lake located in the Rio Grande Valley that has been a vital geographical resource for thousands of years. The lake sits atop a massive underground salt dome that is approximately 4 miles deep, causing the water to be incredibly hypersaline, roughly 7 times saltier than the ocean. Because the water is so saturated with minerals, it cannot support most aquatic life, but it creates a stunning landscape of white, crystalline shores that shimmer under the hot Texas sun. For centuries, indigenous peoples, Spanish explorers, and early settlers traveled great distances to harvest the salt, which was considered a precious commodity for food preservation and trade. The lake is one of only a few naturally occurring salt lakes in the region and serves as a critical stopover for migratory birds that rely on the surrounding brushland. Its presence is a geological anomaly that has shaped the human and natural history of South Texas. 8. The industrial trench of the Houston Ship Channel. The Houston Ship Channel is a massive, man-made geographical modification that transformed a shallow, winding bayou into one of the world's busiest deep-water ports. Originally, Buffalo Bayou was far too shallow for large ocean-going vessels, but extensive dredging and engineering projects widened and deepened the channel to over 45 feet. This artificial canyon stretches for over 50 miles from the Gulf of Mexico into the heart of the city, effectively bringing the ocean inland. The geography of the region was fundamentally altered to support the global energy and petrochemical industries, creating a complex landscape of industrial infrastructure and wetlands. This channel is not just a shipping lane, it is a critical artery that connects the Texas economy to every corner of the globe. The sheer scale of the dredging required to maintain the depth of the channel is a testament to human ambition and the ability to reshape the Earth's surface to facilitate international commerce and trade. 9. The volcanic crown of the Chisos Mountains. The Chisos Mountains hold the unique distinction of being the only mountain range in the United States contained entirely within the borders of a single national park. Rising dramatically from the center of Big Bend, these mountains were formed by violent volcanic activity and subsequent erosion over tens of millions of years. The high-altitude terrain creates an island in the sky where the climate is significantly cooler and wetter than the surrounding Chihuahuan Desert. This geographical isolation has allowed for the survival of unique plant and animal communities, including the rare Colima warbler and groves of quaking aspen. The jagged peaks, such as Emery Peak and the Window, provide a rugged verticality that contrasts sharply with the flat, sun-scorched basins below. This range acts as a biological fortress, preserving a relic of a different era when the region was far more hospitable. 10. The subterranean jewelry of the caverns of Sonora. The caverns of Sonora are often described as one of the most beautiful caves in the world due to the incredible density and delicacy of their crystal formations. Located at the edge of the Edwards Plateau, this cave system is famous for its abundance of helictites, which are twisting, gravity-defying mineral growths that resemble fine porcelain or butterfly wings. These formations occur when water seeps through the limestone under pressure, depositing calcite in intricate patterns that seem to grow in every direction. The geography of the cave is so complex and fragile that even a slight change in humidity can damage the growing crystals. Some of the most spectacular rooms within the cavern are patterned packed with shimmering stalactites and translucent draperies that create an atmosphere of ethereal subterranean opulence. 11. The pristine isolation of the Devil's River. The Devil's River in Val Verde County is widely regarded as the most remote and pristine waterway in the entire state of Texas. Flowing through a rugged karst landscape of limestone canyons and desert scrub, this river remains remarkably clear because it is primarily fed by deep underground springs. Unlike many other rivers that have been modified by human development or agriculture, the Devil's River exists in a state of nearly untouched wilderness. Its turquoise waters are surrounded by towering cliffs and treacherous rapids that make navigation a daunting challenge even for the most experienced paddlers. The geography of the region is so isolated that it serves as a critical refuge for rare species like the Devil's River minnow. This river represents a rare surviving example of what the Texas landscape looked like before the arrival of modern infrastructure, offering a glimpse into a harsh yet beautiful world where water and stone exist in perfect, unyielding harmony. 12. The ancient gallery of Seminole Canyon. At the confluence of the Pecos River and the Rio Grande lies Seminole Canyon, a deep limestone gorge that contains some of the most significant rock art in North America. The geography of the canyon provided natural rock shelters where early nomadic people lived over 4,000 years ago. These shelters are decorated with massive, colorful murals known as fate bell pictographs, which depict mysterious figures and complex symbols that still baffle archaeologists today. The limestone walls of the canyon are pockmarked with caves and crevices formed by water erosion, creating a rugged and defensible landscape. The area is also part of a dramatic transition zone, where different ecological regions meet, resulting in a unique mix of desert and mountain vegetation. 13. The Crimson Cliffs of Caprock Canyons. Located in the Panhandle, Caprock Canyon State Park features a dramatic landscape of jagged, red-hued cliffs and deep valleys that cut through the edge of the Llano Estacado. These stunning formations are composed of clay and sandstone layers that were deposited millions of years ago when the region was a vast inland basin. The vibrant red color comes from the oxidation of iron within the rock, creating a striking contrast against the pale blue sky. The park is geographically significant as the home of the official Texas state bison herd, which roams across the rugged terrain, much like their ancestors did centuries ago. The canyons also feature unique white veins of gypsum that cut through the red stone, indicating a history of evaporating ancient seas. The landscape is a testament to the harsh beauty of the high plains, where erosion has sculpted the earth into a complex maze of vibrant vertical geometry and silent ancient plains. 14. The winding majesty of the Brazos River. The Brazos River is the longest river that flows entirely within the borders of Texas, carving a path of over 800 miles from the high plains to the Gulf of Mexico. Its name, which translates to Arms of God, reflects its historical importance as a life-giving water source in an often arid land. The river's geography is diverse, transitioning from the rugged red rock canyons of the north to the lush, fertile bottomlands of the south. Over centuries, the Brazos has deposited massive amounts of sediment, creating a deep delta that supports some of the most productive agricultural land in the state. The river is also known for its historical volatility, with massive floods frequently reshaping the surrounding landscape before the construction of modern dams. 15. The endless sands of Padre Island. Stretching for over 113 miles along the Texas coast, Padre Island is the longest barrier island in the world. This narrow strip of land protects the Texas mainland from the powerful storms and surges of the Gulf of Mexico, acting as a natural buffer. The island is geographically dynamic, with wind and waves constantly reshaping the dunes and moving sand from one end to the other. It is also home to the Laguna Madre, a hypersaline lagoon that is one of the few of its kind on the planet. The high salt content of the lagoon creates a unique ecosystem that supports a vast array of migratory birds and marine life. Because much of the island is protected as a national seashore, it remains one of the few undeveloped stretches of coastline in the country. The sheer length and isolation of the island make it a unique sanctuary where the wild forces of the ocean meet the lands. 16. The accidental discovery of Inner Space Cavern. Hidden beneath the limestone of Georgetown, Inner Space Cavern remained sealed from the surface for over 10,000 years, until it was accidentally discovered by a highway construction crew in 1963. The cave is part of the Edwards Aquifer system and contains an incredible array of delicate formations, including translucent soda straws and massive flowstones. Because the cavern was sealed for so long, it became a natural time capsule, preserving the skeletons of prehistoric animals that fell through natural openings in the surface. Among the finds were the remains of Ice Age mastodons, saber-toothed cats, and giant ground sloths, providing a rare glimpse into the prehistoric fauna of the region. Before continuing, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. And now, let's keep discovering if you truly know the geography of Texas. 17. The ancient river path of Longhorn Cavern. Longhorn Cavern is a unique geographical marvel because it was formed not by the slow dripping of rainwater, but by the force of a powerful underground river. Most limestone caves are characterized by stalactites and stalagmites, but this cavern features smooth, sculpted walls and circular tunnels carved by high-pressure water flows millions of years ago. This process, known as a phreatic cave system, left behind massive rooms with swirling patterns etched into the rock. The cave has served many purposes throughout history, from a secret hideout for outlaws to a subterranean ballroom during the Prohibition era. Geological evidence within the cave includes rare crystals and fossilized remains that tell a story of the shifting hydrology of the Texas Hill Country. Unlike many other caves that feel damp and claustrophobic, the wide, smooth galleries of Longhorn Cavern provide a spacious and hauntingly beautiful look at the power of prehistoric subterranean currents. 18. The vertical splendor of Santa Elena Canyon. Carved by the relentless flow of the Rio Grande, Santa Elena Canyon is a breathtaking geological chasm where 1,500-foot limestone walls rise vertically from the water's edge. This dramatic gorge marks a sharp division between the United States and Mexico, with one side of the canyon wall belonging to Texas and the other to Chihuahua. The canyon was formed as the river sliced through the Mesa de Anguilla, a massive uplifted block of rock over the course of millions of years. At its narrowest point, the canyon feels like a cavern without a roof, as the high walls block out much of the sunlight and echo the sounds of the rushing water. The sheer scale and symmetry of the canyon walls create a sense of profound isolation and natural grandeur. It is one of the most visually striking examples of water erosion in the world, showcasing the power of a river to conquer the toughest stones. 19. The fluid borders of the Rio Grande meander. The Rio Grande is not just a river, it is a restless geographical boundary that has historically challenged the concepts of international borders. Because the river flows through a soft, sandy floodplain, it has a natural tendency to meander and shift its course over time. In the past, sudden floods would cause the river to jump its banks, effectively moving pieces of land from one country to another overnight. This phenomenon led to the famous Chamizal dispute, where a change in the river's path left a portion of Mexican land on the northern side of the channel. This geographical instability eventually required the construction of concrete channels and dams to permanently stabilize the border near El Paso and Ciudad Juarez. The river's fluid nature serves as a powerful reminder that natural geography does not always respect the rigid lines drawn on political maps, remaining a source of intrigue and diplomatic complexity for over a century. 20. The Sentinel Cliff of El Capitan. Guarding the southern entrance to the Guadalupe Mountains, El Capitan is a massive limestone cliff that serves as one of the most recognizable geological landmarks in the American West. This 1,000-foot sheer face of rock was once the edge of a massive underwater barrier reef that surrounded an ancient inland sea. The cliff is composed entirely of the skeletons of ancient marine life, including sponges, algae, and shells, which have been compressed and uplifted over millions of years. Its strategic position and imposing height made it a vital navigational landmark for early travelers, including the Butterfield Overland mail stagecoaches. The dramatic vertical geometry of the rock creates a sense of awe, standing as a silent witness to the immense tectonic forces that reshaped the North American continent. 21. The Skyline Sanctuary of Guadalupe Peak. Standing at 8,751 feet above sea level, Guadalupe Peak is the highest point in Texas, offering a dramatic vantage point over the Chihuahuan Desert. This towering limestone summit is part of the Capitan Reef, an ancient fossilized coral reef that formed during the Permian period over 250 million years ago. Hiking to the top reveals a stark transition from desert scrub to high-altitude alpine forests of Douglas fir and ponderosa pine. The geography is so rugged and vertical that it creates its own microclimate, often experiencing fierce winds and sudden temperature drops even while the desert floor below remains sweltering. From the peak, the curvature of the earth feels visible as the vast salt flats and distant mountain ranges of New Mexico stretch out in every direction. It is a place where the history of an ancient sea meets the modern sky, standing as the literal pinnacle of the state. 22. The enigmatic labyrinth of Caddo Lake. Located on the border of Texas and Louisiana, Caddo Lake is a sprawling maze of bayous, sloughs, and cypress forests that feels like a portal to another world. It is the only natural lake in Texas that was not created by human engineering, though its origin is shrouded in mystery. Legend suggests a massive earthquake in the early 19th century caused the ground to sink, while scientific evidence points to a massive log jam on the Red River that flooded the area. The lake is famous for its towering bald cypress trees, which are draped in Spanish moss and reflected in the dark, still waters. This primeval environment supports an incredible diversity of life, including alligators, rare owls, and over 70 species of fish. 23. The shifting gold of Monaghan Sandhills. The Monaghan Sandhills represent a surreal, desert-like landscape hidden within the semi-arid plains of West Texas. These massive dunes, some rising up to 70 feet, are composed of fine, golden sand that is constantly shifted by the wind. Unlike typical deserts, this area sits atop a vast underground reservoir known as the Santa Rosa Aquifer. This water source allows a unique shinnery oak forest to grow directly in the sand, though the trees rarely exceed 3 feet in height. These miniature oaks produce oversized acorns and have root systems that can extend 30 feet deep into the moisture. This geological anomaly creates a bizarre visual of a forest submerged in a sea of sand. The dunes are a remnant of the Permian Basin's ancient environment, offering a glimpse into a time when the region was far more dynamic. It is a place of shifting horizons and botanical curiosities that defies the traditional expectations of Texan terrains. 24. The ghostly shadows of the Big Thicket. The Big Thicket National Preserve in southeast Texas is often called the biological crossroads of North America because of its incredible convergence of diverse ecosystems. Within this dense, swampy forest, you can find cactus growing alongside wild orchids and cypress trees draped in haunting Spanish moss. It is a geographical anomaly where the eastern hardwood forests, Gulf coastal plains, and Midwestern prairies all overlap. This dense wilderness was once so impenetrable that it served as a hideout for outlaws and deserters throughout history. The region is also steeped in legend as the last possible home of the ivory-billed woodpecker, a bird long thought to be extinct. The thick, humid environment and complex network of bayous create an atmosphere of deep mystery and prehistoric beauty. 25. The living arteries of the Rio Grande Resacas. In the southernmost tip of Texas, the landscape is defined by a unique geographical feature known as resacas. These are former channels of the Rio Grande that were cut off from the main river over centuries of shifting currents and flooding. Unlike stagnant ponds, these oxbow lakes are dynamic ecosystems that act as living arteries for the region's biodiversity. They provide critical habitats for migratory birds, rare tropical plants, and even the elusive ocelot. The resacas are a direct result of the river's natural tendency to meander across the flat coastal plain, constantly reshaping the boundary between land and water. In many ways, they represent the ghost of the river's past, marking where the mighty Rio Grande once flowed before human intervention and natural shifts changed its course. 26. The extraterrestrial scar of the Odessa meteor crater. In the flat scrubland near the city of Odessa lies a subtle but significant geographical feature, the second largest meteor crater in the United States. Thousands of years ago, a massive iron-nickel meteorite crashed into the Earth with the force of a nuclear explosion, leaving behind a crater that originally measured over 500 feet in diameter and 100 feet deep. Over the centuries, wind and dust have filled the depression, making it appear as a shallow basin to the casual observer. However, geological investigations have revealed the true scale of the impact, uncovering thousands of meteorite fragments buried in the surrounding soil. The impact was so intense that it shattered the underlying limestone and sent shockwaves through the region. Today, the site serves as a somber reminder of the violent cosmic events that have shaped the planet's surface. It is a rare place where the heavens physically collided with the Texas landscape, leaving an indelible mark on the earth. 27. The bottomless abyss of Jacob's Well. Jacob's Well is a perennial karstic spring that flows from the bed of Cypress Creek, acting as a gateway to one of the most dangerous and extensive underwater cave systems in Texas. From the surface, the well appears as a shimmering blue hole about 12 feet in diameter, but beneath the water lies a vertical drop of 30 feet that leads into a complex labyrinth of chambers. These submerged passages reach depths of over 140 feet and stretch for thousands of feet into the limestone bedrock. The cave system is a classic example of the intricate plumbing that exists within the Edwards Plateau, where water has carved out massive voids over eons. Despite its serene beauty, the well has a dark reputation due to the numerous divers who have lost their lives exploring its narrow, silt-filled tunnels. 28. The relict forest of lost maples. Deep within the Sebanal River Canyon lies a botanical mystery known as the Lost Maples State Natural Area. This region is home to a rare and isolated stand of big-tooth maple trees that are essentially leftovers from the last ice age. Thousands of years ago, as the climate warmed and dried, these trees retreated to the cooler, more humid microclimates found in the deep limestone canyons of the hill country. These maples are now hundreds of miles away from their nearest relatives, existing in a delicate balance within this specific geographical pocket. Every autumn, the canyon transforms into a spectacular display of fiery reds, oranges, and yellows, a sight that is largely unique in a state dominated by evergreens and scrub brush. The presence of these trees is a living reminder of the ancient environmental shifts that once gripped the continent. 29. The Oasis of Balmorhea State Park. In the middle of the arid Chihuahuan Desert, a miraculous geographical feature known as San Solomon Springs creates a sprawling oasis of crystal clear water. These springs pump more than 15 million gallons of water every day, feeding the world's largest spring-fed swimming pool at Balmorhea State Park. The water remains a constant 72 to 76 degrees year-round, providing a stable habitat for several endangered species, including the Comanche Springs pupfish. This natural phenomenon occurs because water from distant mountains travels through underground limestone channels before surfacing under immense pressure. The pool covers nearly 2 acres and reaches depths of 25 feet, allowing visitors to swim alongside fish and turtles in a desert environment. It is a striking contrast to the surrounding parched landscape, where water is often the rarest of resources. 30. The Swiss Alps of the Davis Mountains. Nestled in the heart of the Trans-Pecos region, the Davis Mountains are often called the Swiss Alps of Texas due to their surprising elevation and lush green landscapes. Unlike the arid deserts that surround them, these mountains feature high-altitude forests of pine and oak, providing a cool refuge for diverse wildlife and unique plant species. This mountain range was formed by intense volcanic activity roughly 35 million years ago, resulting in rugged peaks that reach over 8,000 feet into the sky. The highest point, Mount Livermore, offers views that stretch across the desert floor toward the distant horizon. Because of the high elevation and clear, dry air, the region is home to one of the most powerful astronomical observatories in the world. 31. The Sleeping Granite Giant of Enchanted Rock. Enchanted Rock is a massive pink granite pluton that rises 425 feet above the surrounding landscape in the Texas Hill Country. This colossal dome is actually the visible tip of a much larger underground rock formation that stretches for miles beneath the surface of the earth. Known as a batholith, this ancient piece of magma cooled slowly underground over 1 billion years ago before being exposed by erosion. The rock gets its name from the mystical sounds it makes at night. As the temperature drops, the granite contracts and produces eerie creaking and groaning noises. Indigenous tribes believe these sounds were the spirits of the mountain, adding a layer of supernatural intrigue to its geological significance. 32. The Painted Depths of Palo Duro Canyon. Often referred to as the Grand Canyon of Texas, Palo Duro Canyon is the second largest canyon system in the United States, carving a jagged path through the heart of the high plains. This stunning geological feature stretches for nearly 120 miles and reaches depths of over 800 feet. The canyon was formed by millions of years of water erosion from the Red River, exposing vibrant layers of orange, red, and yellow rock that tell a story of the Earth's ancient past. These colorful strata represent different geological periods, ranging from the Permian to the Triassic, creating a natural timeline etched into the cliffs. The canyon also served as a vital sanctuary for the Comanche and Kiowa tribes, who found shelter within its deep hidden walls during the harsh winters. And 33. The Subterranean Salt Cathedral of Grand Saline. Deep beneath the town of Grand Saline lies a massive geological anomaly known as the Grand Saline Salt Dome. This colossal pillar of pure sodium chloride extends thousands of feet into the earth, a remnant of an ancient sea that evaporated hundreds of millions of years ago. The dome is so vast that it could theoretically supply the entire world with salt for centuries. Inside the mine, the walls are composed of glittering crystalline salt that reflects light in a dazzling, otherworldly display. While the salt is primarily used for industrial and agricultural purposes today, the history of the site is steeped in intrigue, as the salt was once a precious commodity for indigenous tribes tribes and early settlers alike. 34. The ancient fortress of the Llano Estacado. The Llano Estacado, or Staked Plains, is one of the largest and most remarkably flat mesas in North America, rising sharply above the surrounding prairies. This vast plateau covers over 30,000 square miles across the Texas Panhandle and eastern New Mexico, standing as a testament to the power of erosion and sediment deposition. The edge of this plateau, known as the Caprock Escarpment, creates a dramatic wall of rock that can rise as much as 1,000 feet in some areas, effectively acting as a natural fortress against the lower plains. It is so flat that early Spanish explorers reportedly had to drive stakes into the ground to mark their paths, as there were no natural landmarks for navigation. 35. The hidden divide of the Balcones Fault. The Balcones Fault zone acts as a silent subterranean architect that fundamentally splits the state into two distinct worlds. Running from the southwestern corner near Del Rio up toward the city of Dallas, this massive geological fracture marks the boundary where the low coastal plains meet the rugged elevation of the hill country. It is not a single crack, but a complex system of many smaller faults that have shaped the hydrology and topography of the region over millions of years. This zone is responsible for the formation of the famous Edwards Aquifer, which provides water to millions of residents and supports unique subterranean species found nowhere else on the planet. After exploring these 35 geography facts about Texas, which one was your favorite or surprised you the most? Tell us in the comments and let's see how many of us chose the same number. You can also check out the video on your screen, so step by step we can keep becoming experts on the geography of our amazing country. And before you move on, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like so we can continue learning together. See you in the next video.